If you grew up with a narcissistic parent, your family probably had rules. But the strange part is, no one ever said them out loud. They were invisible, yet everyone followed them. And if you broke one, everything in the house suddenly became tense. Today we're going to talk about the 7 invisible rules of narcissistic families. If you recognize these, you'll finally understand why your childhood felt so confusing. Rule 1. Protect the parent's image. In healthy families, parents protect their children. In narcissistic families, the child protects the parent's image. The most important thing in the household becomes how the family looks to the outside world. If something embarrassing happens, it must be hidden. If the parent behaves badly, it must be justified. The message becomes clear very early. The parent's reputation matters more than the child's reality. Rule 2. Do not challenge the parent. Healthy families allow disagreement, but in narcissistic families, disagreement feels dangerous. Even small questions can trigger anger. So children learn quickly. Don't challenge, don't question, don't point out contradictions. Over time, this creates a strange psychological pattern. As adults, many survivors become extremely careful about expressing opinions, because deep down, their nervous system still expects punishment for speaking up. Rule 3. Emotions are not allowed in narcissistic homes. Emotions are inconvenient. If you're sad, you're told you're too sensitive. If you're angry, you're disrespectful. If you're hurt, you're accused of exaggerating. So children learn to suppress their emotional reality. The environment teaches them. Your feelings are a problem. This is why many adults raised this way struggle to even to identify their emotions later in life. Rule 4. Someone must be the problem. Narcissistic systems need a scapegoat because the parent cannot accept fault. So if something goes wrong, someone else must carry the blame. Often it's the child who questions things, the child who notices inconsistencies, the child who reacts emotionally to unfair treatment. That child becomes labeled difficult, sensitive, troublemaker, but in reality, that child was simply reacting to dysfunction. Rule 5. Appearance matters more than truth. Many survivors say the same thing about their childhood. Everything looked perfect from the outside. The house looked good. The parents seemed charming, but inside the home, the atmosphere felt tense and unpredictable. This creates a deep confusion for children, because the outside world sees a completely different version of the parent. Rule 6. Love is conditional. In healthy families, love is stable. In narcissistic families, love often feels like a reward system. When the child behaves correctly, they receive approval. When they challenge the parent, the affection disappears. This creates a pattern where children grow up constantly trying to earn love, even as adults. Rule 7. The system must never be questioned. The final invisible rule is the most powerful. The family system must never be examined. Anyone who questions the dynamics becomes the threat. That's why so many survivors say something interesting. The moment they began to understand the family dynamic, they were labeled the problem, because awareness disrupts the system. If you grew up in a narcissistic family, none of this was your fault. These invisible rules shape how children see themselves. But the moment you start recognizing them, their power begins to weaken, because what once felt confusing finally starts making sense. And understanding the system is often the first step towards stepping outside of it.